3 Minuten. Noch 2 Minuten bis es vorläuft. 2 minutes to go. Schuh 98,6. Fliegkorner. Valentina kommt zum Zielschuss. 132,4 Stundenkilometer. Und gegen Ziel 1:11:51.
Zielschuss 126,8. Vorläufer 2, Ziel 1,50. Januar 2024. Herzlich willkommen am Olympiawoche St. Moritz Celerina. BMW IBSF Weltcup Skeleton. Das erste Rennen im Rahmen des BMW IBSF Weltcups hier am Olympiawoche St. Moritz Celerina. Die erste Bobbahn der Welt. Hier wurde
Yes!
Frauen haben sich für dieses Rennen gemeldet. Ein spannendes Rennen aufgrund der Trainingsresultate steht uns bevor. Weiter geht es dann um 12 Uhr. Weiter geht es dann um 10:58 Uhr mit dem zweiten Durchgang. Und das Männerrennen, das findet statt, Start 12:34 Uhr. Also man sich auf einen spannenden Tag gefasst. Um 16 Uhr dann der Mixed Team Event. Auch hier freuen wir uns auf ein interessantes, spannendes Rennen. Also in Kürze geht's los. Die Spurläufer, wir haben noch 2 am Start. Das sind
my goodness.
Hello, good morning, and welcome to Paradise. Welcome to the home of bobsleigh and skeleton, Moritz in Switzerland. For more than 125 years, they've been racing from the town of Moritz to the small village you see there, Zielerina, at the bottom of the valley. And so the legacy continues. We start our weekend of action, a fully packed schedule on Friday with women's skeleton, 33 sleds from 18 nations taking on the longest track on the planet and still the only remaining natural track. This is built every November from ice and snow along the path that they've been running for a century and a quarter. Short run down into the first little dink off a breathtaking start. 1,790 meters above sea level. It's very, very sapping on your oxygen levels. Very quiet down into the first notifiable corner wall. Then into a two-corner complex, Snake 1, Snake 2. Rushing down to Sunny Corner, which will get the sun later in the morning. Into Nash and Dixon, the two corners named after the Moritz Bob Club members that won gold in '64 in Innsbruck, and Horseshoe, the signature corner, building speed on the exit down into Telephone, Shamrock, Devil's Dyke, and then through Nameless and Tree Corner into the fast four at the bottom, Bridge, Leap, and then the Gunter Sachs curve, which leads you onto the long straight down to the final two turns, Martineau, named after the first president of the Bob Club, over the railway line, and then Portago over the Cresta run, basically, sorry, and then up to the finish area. Well, it will take them about 15 seconds longer than most tracks to get down, about 25 seconds longer than Innsbruck, where we were last time. Our World Cup points leader is Kimberley Bos of the Netherlands. Delighted to say she'll be joining me to talk through the teams competition later on this afternoon. We have a full field of athletes. Kimberley, the Olympic bronze medalist, was the silver medalist in the World Championships here last January. And that was our last race on this track. And most of the athletes you see there were here at least for the World Champs. There is Kim. Now, we've got to send out our best wishes to her coach, who is not feeling particularly well. Hopefully we'll be back in time for Sigulda in a few weeks' time. So all the best. Kristen Bromley rushed out to help this weekend. Our start list, the first of 33 athletes, will be Austria's Julia Erlacher, then Malta's Shannon Galea, and Colombia's Lara Vargas, before Kim Bos, the World Championship silver medalist. And our world champion comes out in spot number 16, Susanne Kreher. Susanne with one win in her career, and that was here last year in the World Champs. So it's a good way to start. And delighted to have a debutante in Canada's Grace Defoe in the field as well. First of 33 sleds, race 4 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup in Moritz. Julia Erlacher, the 23-year-old Austrian, made her debut in Whistler. Did the first 3 races of last season's World Cup and Eagles so far this season. Little dink off wall, got to keep the sled nice and straight. Your lungs burning at this altitude after the sprint away from the start, but desperately trying not to move on the sled at all. She's a former bobsleigh brakewoman, out of wall into Snake. Trying to avoid skids. You can see she's got her heels apart, trying to stop the skids. Down through Nash and Dixon past Monty's Bolts. That's the junior start where you learn to slide from. Little toe drag to get the line into Horseshoe. Then out of Telephone through Shamrock, 97.8 kilometers an hour. We'll see speeds up to 100 k's, probably in the second heat maybe. Overnight low was only minus 11 or 12, so it's not quite as frosty a track as it often is. Long skid there as she comes through the fast four at the bottom of the track into Martineau. 132.1 kilometers an hour. This is good speed. And out of Portago across the line, a 71.12. So 1:11.12. And again, just before Christmas, when we were coming down in 54 seconds, not 71 seconds. That's the difference between her run in Innsbruck in the first heat and her run here in the first heat. You get nearly 50% more ice time per race, per run here in St. Moritz. Little toe drag. The track sort of undulates as they're trying to stay on the left-hand side into Horseshoe, but the track sort of undulates and tries to push them off to the right. And that's why the little toe drag was there. So I'm saying hello to everybody back at home. You can hear how cold the ice is. The ice literally sparkles here. The snow sparkles. It's so frosty. Shannon Galea from Malta. She raced here in the World Champs in January last year. Second World Cup start for her. Raced here in the European Championships in January 22 as well, so she's got relatively good experience of this track. 5:83 getaway. And again, trying to keep those runners dead straight. If you see the runners more than just head on, then that's going to cost them valuable speed. Now to Wall, down to Snake. Talking to the athletes during training in the week. And that, saying, you know, where are the real key areas? Where are the tricky ones? Last year, Nash and Dixon here, they had a little bit of a tricky transition for the skeleton slide. She's getting pings off the wall. She's trying to keep a low line to avoid a crash out of Horseshoe. Taps in telephone. Lots of toe steering going on. Shannon. And in fact, her family essentially are the Maltese Skeleton Federation. Now 33 sleds start. Fastest 25 will go through into the second heat. 2:21 behind. So 1:13.33, and I think that is possibly the end of her sliding today, but we'll wait and see. Normally, having a low start number in single digits is a massive advantage. Here, much less so. The later you go, the less frosty the track will be and the less grip it will have on the runners, allowing you to go a little quicker. Well, she got pinged off the wall there. She was trying to stay on the left up to Horseshoe, got rattled on the right-hand side. You see her head was right up, looking for the line. And again, down there, in the fast four right-handers that lead you onto the end straight. Just a little rattle on the wall. Lara Vargas, great-looking helmet from the Colombian slider. This is her third World Cup start. Just 24 years of age. Raced in the Youth Olympic Games in 2016. But her first race on this track was the World Championships last January. Being assisted there by Canada coach Joe Cicchini. Get on nice and quietly, trying to avoid those toes touching the ice, keep that precious start speed alive. So 5:68, not as quick as Julia Erlacher, but faster than Shannon Galea of Malta. Looking nice and smooth so far. You can see the coaches and the athletes can walk along the wall on the side of the track. Public can't, but you can get almost within touching distance all the way down this track. Such a great place to watch. Again, rattled left and right. Nice height in Horseshoe, though. And when you plunge down out of Horseshoe into Telephone, that helps you accelerate. 94.7. A couple of late exits here. But listen how quiet the sled is. First time here, athletes are absolutely flummoxed by how silent everything is. It's like you've got noise-cancelling headphones on, because you don't vibrate this mountain the way that you vibrate an artificial concrete track. Across the line, 1:13.09. So she is ahead of regular sparring partner Shannon Galea. Lara Vargas in second place with 10% of our field down. Not quite 10%, is it? 9 point something. 3 out of 33, 111. Again here, coming out of Dixon, just a little too far to the left. And we're talking tiny differences here. Nice height in Horseshoe, that's a nice high line. Pretty frosty up there right now, but that's the height you need. And then watch the head. She's just leaning a little with the head just to drive it down, but that was a great exit.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching.
See, even at this time in the morning, my Spanish is really good. Next up, our silver medalist from the World Championships. Kimberley Bos, our World Cup points leader, having a good season, but a little steer there into the first dink. At a wall, keeping it nice and straight. The start was good, 5:33. Fastest start so far, Julia Erlacher. Kimberley Bos now in front of her. And this will be the first of our expected front runners. On her Bromley sled, you saw Richard Bromley on the line. Richard and Kristen both here coaching this weekend. Kristen, a winner on this track. Partner Shelley Rudman, a 3-time winner on this track, one of the most successful female sliders on this track, Shell. In fact, 4 times winner, 3 in World Cup and that World Championship title. 1:12.6, very good speed from Kimberley Bos. Nice looking run so far, 1:35.7, 84.3 miles an hour. And across the line, 1:09.81. So 1:09.81 for Kimberley Bos. And again, just before Christmas, the last race in Innsbruck, 53.93 seconds in her first heat. So
That's pretty good.
a heck of a lot more racing here. Okay, watch the load. Trying to swallow dive, land with the entire speed and weight of the body, driving the sled further forward.
Allemaal, leuk dat jullie kijken zo vroeg. Oeh, it's koud.
It is cold. It's cold when you're wearing lots of layers. It's cold when you're not wearing any layers. Next up, in her 4th World Cup start for Great Britain, 23-year-old Tabby Stoker. 3 previous World Cups, she's had a gold and a silver out of those 3 races. So she has had a stellar start to this season. She won in La Plagne. She was 3rd in Innsbruck. 2nd in the Europa Cup season last year, former circus acrobat. Junior World Championship silver medalist last year as well, Tabby. 5:25, that's an excellent getaway. Accelerating yourself to nearly 30 miles an hour by the first little corner. Into wall, 1500s up on Kimberley Bos. I would tell you that she looked fairly excited and animated after training, but everybody does on this track. There's a lot of athletes who really gel with this place. It is most people's favourite track. Medium low line, little toe steer, but she takes a hit into telephone. Was 1500s up, but the speed's going away, so she will drop behind Kimberley Bos. Kimberley 62.2, 59.2 miles an hour there for Tabby Stoker. 3rd best speed. And a little skid there as well. Now she should be 2nd at the line, but it's a big deficit from that hit off telephone. 1.17 seconds back.
1.17 seconds behind.
Well, I'm guessing no medal here for Tabby. She was 23rd in the World Championships last January, and you can see from the body English when she gets up, not happy with that. Well, watch here. Big toe steer. She thinks she's going late out of horseshoe, and in fact, she drags it down early into telephone. And that hurts the body as much as it hurts the speed. Watch the impact. Boom.
Everyone at home, Happy New Year.
Well, hopefully she'll get a second run to tidy things up. Kimberley Bos leads from Tabby Stoker, 5 sleds into the first heat. Race 4 of the BMW IBSF Women's Skeleton World Cup. We're in fabulous St. Moritz. Next up, Meylemans of Belgium. Best World Cup finish here, 8th place in January 2021. Didn't race in 2022. In the Worlds last year, she was 8th. And she has a whisker of an advantage over current leader Kimberley Bos from the start. So little Belgium with her head down into wall. And as you walk around the track here, the organisers have a series of photo boards up explaining the history of the track and some of the corners with fabulous pictures back to the Victorian era, 125 years ago, with 5-seat sleds with people in full gowns and bonnets, right up to the modern day. And of course, Skeleton still races here alongside the Olympia Bob Run at the legendary Cresta Run, which was where the sport of sliding headfirst on a tea tray began. Second best speed for Kim Meylemans. Going to be a quarter of a second and more behind. Wow, 64 hundredths. Anna Mirambel and Richard Bromley there. Richard with a very quick change of coats. Unless Christian Bromley didn't go home last night. 1:10.45. Okay, so second place for Kim Meylemans, but still 64 hundredths back. That's a big deficit. Kimberley Bos's first heat looking very good at the moment. Nice load, getting the hands around under the hips.
Hi, Happy New Year, everyone. Beautiful weather.
As they always say, a bad day in St. Moritz is better than a good day almost anywhere else. Valentina Margaglio of Italy. Well, you see the hair under the hood. That's the headshot with the hair in all its freedom. And Valentina finished 14th in the World Championships. Disappointing, but her best result here, 5th place in the World Cup race January 2022. Coach Willi Schneider helping out the Italians as they head towards Milan Cortina 2026. Track will not be built in Cortina, disappointingly for everybody. 5:19, very good getaway. Very quick start from Valentina Margaglio. So she has got top 5 potential. World Championships were disappointing for her. She finished only 14th. Let's see what she can produce here. Through Sunny. Into Nash and Dixon. Keeping it left. Good height in horseshoe. Yes, she was trying to avoid the late exit. 2100s up. Now some of that advantage will go away. Only the 3rd best speed. She might drop into the red here. 800s up, 2nd best speed. Kimberley Bos still quickest of all. So Bos will lead at the end of this run. This is pretty clean at the bottom from Valentina Margaglio. How close will she be? 83.2 miles an hour at the bottom. And 1500s back. That is a very decent run. So fastest start so far, 5:19. And second at the bottom. There's something to play with for Valentina Margaglio. That's a lot of hair to fit under a hood. Not the highest line, dived out, trying to avoid the late exit into telephone. Watch the toe come down on the left-hand side. That's like sticking your oar in with a canoe. It just rotates the sled a little. They've got it right down the middle of the tubes, but it does take a bit of that acceleration away. Next up, Tina Hermann of Germany, our 4-time world champion and one of 4 previous winners on this track. Tina has 2 gold medals, one here in 2020 and 2021. She had a silver in 2018 and in 2016. Let's see what she can produce. Disappointed in the Worlds, didn't get a medal, only 5th place. 5:54 getaway. Nice, quiet-looking run so far. But 2100s behind Kimberley Bos from the start, out to 3700s back. Tina always makes big speed in the forest below Horseshoe. So let's see what she can produce. Again, tracking nicely through Nash and Dixon. Head just steering her to get the line into Horseshoe. Good height, little toe drag. 3800s back. She's stopped the bleeding. She's coming back. Best speed of all, 100.2, 62.2 miles an hour. 112. In the second heat, we'll see 114 probably. Oh, little ping there, though. Still in the red. She's not going to get that close to Kimberley Bos. Might be a quarter second back at the line. 4700s. Lost more than I thought. And that bridge leap sacks rattle on the wall, not helping. 3rd at the line. And still a lot of sleds to come. In fact, still our world champion and 2 other previous winners on this track in the field. Take a look at Horseshoe. Lets it rise. Any toe action? Yeah, just the tiniest of little left and then right. She was in 2 minds there. She didn't trust the line. And she had to swivel the hips in telephone. But here again, that little rattle on the wall. Taking speed out of the sled that she could ill afford to lose. And Tina knows when she's behind at the start, and she often is, she needs perfection. Now then, from Brazil, Nicole Silveira. Eagles last time out, 7th place, her World Cup best ever result. This is her 23rd start with the Jaguar on the helmet and the flag of Brazil proudly displayed. 5:44. Is there a samba band here? I didn't see them coming in. 1100s back at the start. Competitive start from Nicole Silveira. And if you can pull off a big result at a track like Eagles, which is short and really dependent on the start, then she might have a good opportunity here. 2700s back, 6th best at the moment. Nice line into Horseshoe, just shifts the hips. She gets a low line, but she gets a good exit. 3400s back, what's the speed like? Only 4th best. It's a nice looking run though. Is this going to be enough? If she's clean here, and she is so far, this could put her into the top 3 or 4. Between Martineau and Portago, you cross over the Cresta run, and across the line, 5th place, 8100s back. So 110.62 for Brazil's Nicole Silveira. Best World Cup result here, 18th place. She was 16th in the World Champs last January. I think this is going to be another sizable improvement for the nurse from Calgary in Alberta in Canada. Now, not the highest line here, which is possibly not a bad thing in the early frosty conditions. And she trusted the line, and that all helps.
O Brasil feliz ano novo.
10th of our 33 starters is Jackie Pfeifer. Who? Well, you'll remember her as Jacqueline Lurling. Got married during the summer. In fact, she raced in the World Championships as Jacqueline Lurling. This is her first appearance in St. Moritz as Jacqueline Pfeifer, 2017 World Champion. This year's World Championships in Winterberg in Hochsauerland in Germany, her home track. And with the disappearance of the Intercontinental Cup and bigger athlete allocations in the field, great to see Jacqueline Pfeifer making the World Cup team again. 5:51, like Tina Hermann, not the fastest starter. Like Tina Hermann, knows how to build speed. So 1800s behind Kimberley Bos at the start. And if she gets to wall, that's doubled to 3600s. But if she can have a quiet slide here with no dramas, then she could be very much in the frame. She's not a winner on this track, but she has finished on the podium. Nice run down to Horseshoe. Oh, little drag with the toes, and it was clean through telephone. Third best speed. Here we go. She's bringing the gap down. Jacqueline Pfeifer doing what she does so well. She's got a long, rangy body, and that works so well aerodynamically at the high speeds we get here. The very best speed of all, 136.4, 84.7 miles an hour, and 2900s back, 110.10. Third spot for Jackie Pfeifer. Jacka back in the World Cup team this season after a couple of years away, and great to see her back in such good form as well. As with Tina Hermann, doesn't have the strongest of starts, but can build speed with great technique. And there's no question the German FES sleds are capable of going very quickly. So best speed of all at the bottom of the track for Jackie Pfeifer. Next up is Hannah Neise, our Olympic champion. 24th World Cup start for Hannah. 1 World Cup win, 1 bronze medal. 5:43 getaway. Best result here, 4th place finish in January 2021. So she could be a contender as well. She's not sure of the line there. You could just see her right elbow sticking out a little bit. Use your head, your shoulders, your hips, your knees, your toes. Every part of the body can be used for steering these sleds. It's the nearest we get to riding a motorcycle where the body has such a big effect. Nice late line. Ooh, low line there, and she made a bit of a mess of telephone. And that carries on through Shamrock and into Devil's Dyke. Nameless, the corner called Nameless, it's not actually Nameless. Tree, Leap and Sachs. Nice run so far, speed is decent, it's not as quick as Jacka. 3rd best speed. How far back? 7/10 nearly, 1:10.48. And as we see, top sliders, and as an Olympic champion, she is a top slider, all failing to match Kimberley Bos's pace. It does show that the Dutch slider had a good first run. She wasn't quite where she wanted to be coming into Horseshoe, and look at all the toes, lots of tap dancing. She suddenly thought, I need to steer down, and then she realized, I've oversteered down, I'm getting too much traction on the ice. Boom, flops off into telephone. Yeah, comme ci, comme ça, as they say in Germany. Next up for China, Zhao Dan, 15th World Cup start. Patrick Singleton, Former Canadian slider there with the sled. World Cup best was a silver medal in Yangqing to start the season. And her only previous official race on this track, last year's World Championship. So a deficit in knowledge here. She finished in 12th place, though, on her first appearance in St. Moritz. She did manage to unlock some of its secrets. And a 5:33 getaway puts her in there swinging. Tied with Kimberley Bos at the start, but already in the red by 400ths. To Sunny, 800s back. This is a good-looking run from Zhao Dan. He's one of the last of the development athletes coached by Mark Wood, former development coach for GB and then for China. And he reckons that of all the young athletes, she probably had the most future potential. 4th best speed, still a top 3 run from Zhao Dan. Head up, looking for the line into Martineau. And Portago, the final corner, named after millionaire playboy racer of motor cars and sleds, Alfonso Di Portago, 1:10.09. Alfonso Di Portago, Fon as he was known, was a racing driver, raced in Formula 1, raced in sports car race, and tragically lost his life after becoming a Winter Olympian in the Meylemans, the famous Italian road race. But Zhao Dan, really good run from her, 3rd place, 100th ahead of Jacqueline Pfeifer. So it's Kimberley Bos who has the early lead here in St. Moritz. This is a major milestone for any female slider. Janine Flock of Austria, a 3-time winner on this track, today starts her 100th World Cup skeleton race. That would have been in Innsbruck, her home track before Christmas, but she missed La Plan after breaking her nose in training. So it is here in the historic home of the sport where she makes her 100th start. Long toe drag there, though, into the little first dink. 5:45 getaway. 4th in the World Championships, but she has had a hatful of medals on this track. 3 wins. Her most recent podium, a silver behind Tina Hermann in January 2021. She was bronze behind Hermann and Jacka in 2020. So she knows how to get speed out of this track. Still got a little problem with her lower back. Ooh, and a big hit in telephone is not going to help. She was bringing the gap right back down, but only the 8th best speed. And that will unravel in the remaining kilometre of ice. 5th best speed. So somehow, despite that hit, she is accelerating. Top 5 run at the moment for Janine Flock. 3rd best speed at the bottom. She's a glider par excellence, and that works well. 3800s back at the bottom. Well, could have been better. 1:10.19, a 1/10 of a second behind Zhao Dan in 3rd. At a horseshoe, watch the impact in telephone. It's late, but it comes. And that's exactly what she was thinking. Alex Auer there at the bottom holding the sled. So our most practiced athlete, Janine Flock, and now Liu Xi of China, not quite on the opposite end of the scale, but in her 13th World Cup race. The 25-year-old, her best World Cup result, 7th place on home ice in Yangqing to start the season. 21st in the World Championships, that's her only race on this track to this date. Quite a lot of steering going on. Now she's got the meander going. This is very flat. And you can't afford to be running sideways. She's desperately trying to stop it yawing. She's just meandering left and right and adding a few more meters of distance to her run. 7th fastest start. She's down to 10th on the splits as she gets to Sunny. Nice through Nash and Dixon. Good height in horseshoe, tiny correction into telephone, but that works. Now then, that's where the speed comes from. Oh, tiny little tap there as she came through Devil's Dyke. And that drops her down to 7th best speed. She'll be out of the top 10. Through Martineau and Portago, across. Everybody's getting through cleanly between those two. Last year there was lots of impacts between the two of them. 1:10.88. So 7th best start, 10th at the bottom. Take a look in horseshoe, and again, watch the toes. She's trying to hold the height up with the right toe, then she cancels that and tries to use the left toe to drag it down. And then again, toe steering at 70 miles an hour drags vital speed out of the sled, but some of that is about self-preservation. Now then, Alessia Crippa, 23-year-old Italian, in her 19th World Cup race. Best result in World Cup races here was 18th place in January 2022. A very disappointed 27th in the World Championships last January. La Plan, just before Christmas, was her best World Cup result, 11th place. She has got a good start, 5:26. Let's see if she can use that to her advantage. When you compare her to somebody like Jacqueline Pfeifer or Janine Flock, she's giving away a lot of height, and that makes the body maybe a little bit less aerodynamically streamlined. It also means, because you're shorter, you weigh less. And that doesn't help either. It means she has to push a slightly heavier sled to get it up to the maximum weight, because the more weight, the better gravity accelerates you down the track. And of course, this is all about falling with style and trying to avoid slowing the sled down on its way down the mountain. 10th best speed, 3rd fastest start. This is a top 5 run at the moment for Alessia Crippa. This might be her best run ever down the track. 9th best speed. She's not going to be 5th at the line. Where is she? She is 9th at the line. What a shame. There's Coach Willi Schneider. 1:10.54. Well, she's ahead of Nicole Silveira, Liu Xi, Tabby Stoker, Julia Erlacher. And how far? She's 600 behind Hannah Neise, the Olympic champion. So that was a really good run. And only low down in the forest did it start to come apart. Now then, take a look at horseshoe, watch the toes again, watch the helmet as well, steering with the head, leaning the head in the airflow, and that little left-hand toe drag, then gets her feet well clear of the ice. It was a good-looking run for Alessia Crippa. Careful, slippery. Our world champion 2023 here in St. Moritz was Susanne Kreher. Kimberley Bos, the silver medalist, is our current leader. So Susanne Kreher, 25 years of age, her first World Cup race here. The World Championships was her first official top flight race on this track. It's only her 14th World Cup start. She's had 3 races here. 3rd in the Junior Worlds in 2018, 2nd in the Junior Worlds in 2021, gold in the Worlds 2023. So the progress has been definitely traceable. Nice, quiet run, and only 500s behind Kimberley Bos at the start, compared to her teammates Jacqueline Pfeifer and Tina Hermann, who were giving away nearly 2/10. And that puts her much more in the frame at Horseshoe, just a quarter of a second back. She needs good speed, though, and at Sunny rather. She needs a good line out of Horseshoe. Look at that, absolute self-belief. No counter-steering at all, and there's the result. Best speed of all, 62.3 miles an hour, faster than Kimberley Bos. From 28 to 2900s back, only the third best speed at the moment. Looks like Kimberley Bos's Bromley sled had the speed in the first heat. Second fastest. She's going to close the margin a fraction, and she's third at the line, 2800s back. So she is third, tied with Zhao Dan of China. Valentina Margaglio remains second, and Kimberley Bos is still our leader. Good first run from Susanne Kreher, and that puts her in the hunt for the medals on a track where in 3 previous outings she has not failed to make it onto the podium. Twice in the Junior Worlds with a bronze and then a silver, and last year in the Worlds with a gold. But that toe drag down into the first dink, whatever speed you put into the sled, you want to keep there. Yeah. And she will be thinking about that run down into the first corner. Hallie Clark from Canada, 19 years of age, her 10th World Cup start. Finished 12th in the Youth Olympic Games here in 2020. Will she race here in the Olympic Games 2026? Certainly, Moritz has put its name into the hat. And with that 2020 Youth Olympics being so successful here, you've got to fancy that bringing the sport back to the home where it started a century and a quarter ago would just be a wonderful PR story. 5:34, great getaway from Hallie. Again, she's a pretty slight athlete, so pushing a heavier sled than some, but still she's got great speed off the start. 1800s back. Started just 100th behind Kimberley Bos. She's a quarter second back as she gets out of Horseshoe. Nice and quiet, it's turbine smooth here. Good speed. Nice lines. Where's this going to put her? She's drifting away. 6th best speed, but she's outside the top 10 on the splits. Brings it back to 8th place with good speed at the bottom. And this track, perhaps more than any other, really allows you to see the development where either you're clean and you allow the sled to accelerate, or you're fighting it and you slow it down. Horseshoe. That's the apex right by the yellow sign that says Horseshoe. And then quite a toe steer there to bring it down into the middle of the track for telephone.
Hi, thanks everyone watching at home.
And they will still be breathless all the way up in the camion to the top. 18th of our 33 starters, halfway through the field now. This is Czech Republic's Anna Fernstedt. It is her 49th World Cup race. She was the 2018 Junior World Champion. She won that medal on this track. This is her 7th World Cup start here. The best, a 5th place finish back in 2018 when she was competing for Germany. Went to the Christopherschule in Berchtesgaden. Started her career like Kimberley Bos, like Kim Meylemans rather, for Germany. 5:56. So 16th best start, giving away 2300s to Kimberley Bos. Nice and quiet, down through Snake. And into sunny corner. And that then leads you down into Nash and Dixon. Little tap on the take-on. She was a fraction too far right. Rattles off the exit. Trying to keep it left into Horseshoe. Up in the woodwork. Good exit, though. 9/10 back. She's not building anything at all from her start. 16th fastest start. 16th on the splits. 15th best speed. Having to fight it a little to get the line she wanted into Gunter Sachs. Through Martineau. 13th best speed through Portago. 16th at the line. 1:11.63. Well, we often say about the Track and Eagles, where you start is where you finish. Here, she was 16th out of the blocks, 16th at the bottom. Didn't manage to find much in the way of speed on the way down. And in Horseshoe, just about avoided splinters. A new bit of wood being put in there. Somebody obviously had quite a bit of battering in previous years. Right. Probably one more trip to go for Anna Fernstedt. I think that will be enough to make the second heat. 25 of our 33 sleds go through. And Jane Channell should definitely be amongst them. 6th in the World Championships last January. She's got decent history on this track. 7th in the World Cup race in January 2015 and in January 2022. Jane from North Vancouver in Canada, 35 years of age. Plenty of experience. This is her 68th World Cup start. Ooh, just a little shift of the hips there. 5:22, very good getaway again from Jane Channell. Second fastest, only one quicker, and that was Valentina Margaglio. Now, can she parlay that into a medal-winning run? Bump maybe onto Snake One. Out of Sunny, she's in the red by 100th. So trying to keep track with Kimberley Bos. And with every 2 minutes between the sleds, the ice will just gradually start to lose some of its frostiness. Only the 9th best speed though as she goes into the forest. And that is not great. The gap is growing. She was 1100s up. She's 1100s back to 2800s back. Speed is disappearing out of the sled. 13th best speed. Jane was second fastest at the start. Top 6 at the line. 11th. She was 5th all the way through the splits, low down in the forest, but the speed was not there. 1:10 at 54. 1.1 seconds quicker than Anna Fernstedt, who just came down, but it looked better early on. Little bounce there out of Nash and Dixon. A couple of toe steers to get the line into Horseshoe. And then low down in the forest. Look, big long skid and a big toe drag there going into Gunter Sachs.
Hello.
She's disappointed with that. Now then, for the USA, Mystique Ro, our push world champion from last year in Lake Placid, the 29-year-old, making only her 4th World Cup start. A slew of medals in North America's Cup races. This season, 19th in Beijing, silver medal in La Plana, 19th in Innsbruck. So she's due a silver, 5:16 getaway. She raced in the Europa Cup last season, learning the European tracks, all little tap, trying to avoid doing any steering. Keep your toes up. Limited experience on this track, Mystique Ro. She wasn't here in the World Champs in January last year. She's only had half a dozen trips in training. Oh, big hit. See the frozen tape ripped off the sled. 13th best speed. still with the lead. 16th best speed, the lead has been cut by 2/3. She'll be in the red as she comes out of the Sachs curve. Here we go, another big skid from Mystique Ro. But this is going to be a very strong run from the American slider. 3/10 back in 6, but what a run that was. Built big speed off a very quick start. And did not quite hold it together, but she had so much velocity, even this took a long time to undo. So out of horseshoe, legs akimbo, real flop, and then the hit. And there's all the tape being ripped off the sled. Yeah, that hurts. Her shoulder will be the same color as her race suit when she peels it off later. Amelia Coltman next for Great Britain. Made her World Cup debut in Sigulda in Latvia in November 2020. Just a one-off at that stage. This is now her 7th World Cup start. The legendary Martin Stukur's laying the sled down. Martin's a 7-time winner on this track, including 1 World Championship. Has not raced here before, Amelia. So this is going to be a bit of a baptism of fire for her. A lot to learn. In fact, it wasn't Martin Stukur's, it's Matthias Guggenberger laying the sled down. 5:34 getaway for Amelia Coltman. Head up a little higher than would be ideal. You want to try and get the shoulders down as low as possible. Minimal frontal area. That's why racing cars are always very small at the front. Through snake 1 and 2, a little rattly. Out of sunny corner. And down through Nash and Dixon. Good left-hand line, big height in horseshoe, big steer, too much steering, rattles the wall into telephone. Little tap take on into Devil's Dyke as well. And then into bridge, under the railway line, through Leap, and then Gunter Sachs onto the long run down towards Martineau and Portago. It's not that long at 82 miles an hour. It doesn't take them that long. It's still a decent distance. 1:10.96, 16th spot. Well, 10th best start, just 100th off Kimberley Bos, but losing time on the way down. There is a lot to learn on this track, and very easy to make mistakes. Now, look at the height in horseshoe. Does she get steered by the woodwork? No, but it was close. And then puts in a big left toe steer. Too much, as it turns out, because instead of coming down the tubes, this shot here shows you the impact. And again, like Mystique Ro, a sizable hit in telephone. And it's all about those tiny little decisions. If she hadn't steered, she might have been in the top 3. Alessandra Fumagalli of Italy. Only the 9th World Cup race for the 25-year-old. She made her World Cup debut here in January 2021. And her best result so far in her short World Cup career was in La Plan just before Christmas, where she finished in 12th. She was 10th in the 2021 Junior Worlds on this track. Oh, but a long skid out of the first corner. She's going to lose all of that start velocity. That first corner is so innocuous looking, but if you get too far up the little fillet, and it pushes you into a skid, and it's the devil's own job to stop. The runners under the sled run pretty much the full length of it, so they're a good metre long, but the contact patch is about the size, the length of a credit card or less. So it is on this little rock, like a rocking chair. So once they skid, they really skid. 6th at the start, 17th on the splits, Alessandra Fumagalli. But the speed is good. You can hear the helmet. Look at how she's burying her head. And that Pokemon Pokeball helmet makes it really easy to see when she's got her head right down, and she does a lot here. She's got faith in her line. 1:10.54. That brings her across the line, tied with compatriot Alessia Crippa. They are both 12th. They are also tied with Jane Channell. She got a three-way tie for 12th. See the black tape on the chin of the helmet? That's probably because she's already worn the paint off it in training. So Alessandra Fumagalli, Alessia Crippa, Jane Channell all in 12th. And next we get to Puerto Rico's Kelly Delka. A real sun seeker. Was chatting to Kelly after training, and she's looking for a quick warm weather break before they go to Lillehammer. Okay. 19th World Cup start. She raced here in Europe Cup, 2 World Cups in 2020 and 2022, and the World Championships last year. So she's got good knowledge of the track. She was enjoying herself in training. Let's see how that parlays in the race. 5:43 getaway. Now nearly, what are we, 56 minutes off the start, or 52 minutes off the first sled. So the track losing a little bit of its frostiness, a little bit of polish from the runners. It should be speeding up all the way through the day. As the only Puerto Rican athlete, she won't be in the teams competition later on this afternoon, but there are 18 teams. Nice exit out of Horseshoe, that will help build the speed. 15th at the start. She's hovering around a top 15 run at the moment. Speed is pretty decent for Kelly Delka. 14th best speed. She's going to make the second heat, but how close will she be to the top dozen? Slipping away a little, but good speed through Martineau and Portago across the line cleanly. 16th place. 1:10.74. So 15th fastest start, 17th at the line, 16th at the line. And this is such a well-rehearsed technique. After years of sliding, this is not something that comes easy. Either pushing the sled one-handed downhill or getting a good load. So Puerto Rico's Kelly Delka started her career with the USA. Sara Rodriguez for the USA. Made her debut in Eagles in January 2021, and then 2 further World Cups this season, Eagles and La Plan. And now here she is in her 4th career start. Did the World Championships in Altenburg in 2021. Has not raced previously here in St. Moritz, and is definitely still trying to unpick its secrets in training. 5:25, good strong start for Sara Rodriguez. 4th quickest getaway, and if she can have a nice, quiet, confidence-inspiring run here, then who knows? Building her advantage over currently the Kimberley Bos to 1/10 of a second. And don't forget Mystique Ro, her compatriot, who's currently lying 6th, had a really good top part of the track. Still 600s up if she gets out of Sunny. This is her first race here, don't forget. Kimberley Bos possibly with a decade more experience of St. Moritz. Medium line, but takes the hit in telephone, and this is where it's all going to start to unravel. Only the 20th best speed for Sara Rodriguez. Still nice and quiet. So she's gone from leading down out of the top 5 on the splits. Where's she going to be? 12th to 15th. Where's your money? Across the line in 16th place, 1:10.74, tied exactly with Kelly Delka, who preceded her 2 minutes ago. So right now, with 25 sleds to go through, we've had 24 down. Shannon Galea of Malta is the Lanterne Rouge. She was trying to avoid too much height and then wasn't quite sure where to go on the exit. Late exit out of Horseshoe, hits hard into Telephone. And watch the way the body is almost bounced clear of the sled. You have to really fight the sled to hang on to it there, but...
Hi, everyone. Love you.
Big smiles from Sara Rodriguez. I love when you see first-time sliders here because everybody comes here, like I did in 2001, and they're just like wide-eyed going, oh, my goodness, what is this place? So Freya Tarbit for Great Britain, 23-year-old, was 7th on her debut in Winterberg in January last year. Then 14th in La Plan, 21st in Innsbruck. She's the Europa Cup champion from last year. Let's see what she's got here. Well, 5:37 puts her right in the frame with Kimberley Bos, our current leader. And if she can have a nice quiet run, she might end up with the best of the Brits' position so far. She's gone from 400s behind Kimberley Bos to 5,500s back at Horseshoe. What's happening here? $6,900s back as she gets out of Shamrock. Something is flapping away. Sounds like maybe the belly pan of the sled is loose. It's like when a car loses its splitter, bits of tape flying off. The sled is disassembling itself on the run. And this is going to leave her really in the danger zone. 23rd at the line out of 25 sleds. It's not been a stellar morning for the British sliders. Freya Tarbit, 23rd, Tabby Stoker, 20th, Amelia Coltman, 19th. Well, their runs have not been flawless, but something in their guess of a setup has gone badly awry. And she's struggling there on the foam matting. We'll take a look at Horseshoe. Line's about optimal. She puts in the steer, but it's not enough. She stays very, very high, very, very late, rolls off, almost crashes out. That's as close as you want to be. You don't want to come down on your back out of Horseshoe, but she very nearly did. That was a very brutal exit. And big bits of tape flying off the sled. I'm sure the belly pan was loose. Next up for Switzerland, Sara Schmied. And now it's go fast or go home. It's Sara Schmied or Shannon Galea in the race. 5:33, 10th best start for the Swiss. Made her World Cup debut in La Plan. Gold medal in the under-20 Junior Worlds and a bronze in the Junior World Championships this year, which was in Lillehammer last week. World Cup goes to Lillehammer in a couple of weekends. It'll be the first World Cup race in Lillehammer this century. Nice exit from Sara Schmied. And you go, yes, of course, she's had hundreds of trips here. This track is not open until December, by which stage she was already sliding in the World Cup. So, yes, they've had a couple of weeks here over Christmas and New Year, and that's it. Swiss athletes don't have a massive home advantage other than they're in Switzerland. Top 10 run at the moment from Sara Schmied. This is looking really good. 10th at the line. Yes, there you go. What a good run. Excellent stuff from Sara Schmied, and that means, unfortunately, Malta's Shannon Galea will not get a second run. But Sara definitely will.
Hi.
So her best result so far, 13th place on her World Cup debut in La Plan. Little flop there. But that was a good-looking run. She's super excited, so she should be. Similarly inexperienced in World Cup racing is Ana Torres Quevedo. She raced here in the World Championships last January to finish in 29th spot. Made her World Cup debut at the start of the season in Beijing. She was in the Junior Worlds last week as well, so she was over in the bitter cold of Norway. This must feel quite warm, relatively. Spanish slider, former slider, Ana Mirambel shouting her off. Like everybody else, this is probably the one track where Ana goes, maybe I could just come back for a bit. Oh, little steer down into wall. You don't really want to do that. Don't think she felt that she could leave it there, but actually, maybe she could have done. Into Sunny. 27th on the splits. So 27th at the start for Ana. Had her first official races only in February 2021 in this startup program that Ana Mirambel created when he was still at the end of his sliding career. He wanted to leave a legacy or build a legacy, and so he is. She's in the race at the moment, up to 25th on the splits. Speed is better. 24th, 25th at the line. Is she in or is Lara Vargas in? She's in and Lara Vargas is out. And actually, she was 7/10 ahead of Lara Vargas, which doesn't necessarily mean that she is safe. At the moment, she is absolutely in the drop zone in 25th place. But as she finishes her run, she's in.
Wow.
It's led meandering, but she's just avoiding skids. But as you can see, it's really hard to judge how little steering is enough. Okay, right now, Ana Torres Quevedo is in the race, but for how long? Here's Julia Simchen. Julia Simchen racing for Switzerland, made her World Cup debut in the Plan, raced in Innsbruck. Here, her third World Cup start. 9th in the Junior Worlds in Lillehammer last week. Mother Connie Simchen was also a World Cup standard skeleton slider. And her dad's family, including a bobsleigh world champion as her granddad. So plenty of competitive streak in this young slider. 5.60 the getaway for Julia Simchen. 25th at the start. Let's see if she can hang on to that. At the moment, Ana Torres Quevedo in 25th, Freya Tarbit in 24th, really in the danger zone. And Anna Fernstedt in 23rd might not get a second run. A little bit of a scramble out of Horseshoe, but the speed's decent, 13th best speed. She's in the race at the moment. She is pulling herself up the order. 13th best speed. This is looking good from Julia Simchen of Switzerland. Nice run out of Sachs. Little steer down into Martineau. Good speed again, but she had to work in Martineau. Out of Portago, 22nd at the line, 23rd at the line. She's in, and Ana Torres Quevedo is out. Anna's tenure of a spot in the race lasted just a couple of minutes. 1:11.21. So she is ahead of Anna Fernstedt and Freya Tarbit. They're 24th and 25th. Steering with a helmet, then just drops the toe as well. And that's a decent exit out of Horseshoe. Had to work a little bit here. Just swings the hips to keep herself off the wall. Nice stuff from Julia Simpson. That might be enough. Katharina Eigenmann next up for the tiny Principality of Liechtenstein. She too made her debut in La Plagne, as so many of these young sliders have this year. Raced last year in the Intercontinental Cup. She's raced in the Europe Cup. She was here last January in the World Championships as well, where she finished 26th. If she can find one more spot, she'll be in the race. She's raced here in the Worlds, in Junior Worlds, and in the Youth Olympic Games in 2020, so she's got knowledge of the track. 5.74, giving away a lot at the start, though. At the moment, it's her or Great Britain's Freya Tarbit. 27th at the start, up to 25th on the splits as she gets to Sunny Corner. She's very close to making the cut. But there is one very big name still to come, which could torpedo a lot of hopes. She's in the race in 24th place, 12th best speed. See how much the track is speeding up as the day warms up and the frost goes away. Little tap there. Oh, big moment in Martineau. Huge moment, 10th best speed going in, but that might cost her a place in the race. It does. No, it doesn't. 25th at the line. She's ahead of Freya Tarbit. She's in now, but that could have been so much better. Wow, big drama in Martineau, and she almost had to row it through Portago to get to the line. But she makes the race at the moment. Now, here we go, coming down the straight out of Sachs. Tiny tap on the wall, sends it completely on the wrong side. Look at this, she's now skidding, hits into Portago. Wow. And that is at a mere 84 miles an hour, broadside into Portago. No wonder she was in panic mode. Next for Austria, Anna Zaulita. Again, second World Cup for her. Made her debut in La Plagne. Did not race in Innsbruck. She was here in the Worlds 23 and the Junior Worlds 2021. Started in luge, as everybody does in Austria, from the age of about 3 upwards. And then transferred to skeleton back in 2020. Just avoiding the wall. 5.60 is the 25th fastest start. So she's right on the cusp. Freya Tarbit is out. Anna Torres Quevedo is out. Lara Vargas is out. Shannon Galea is out. Drop zone. Katharina Eigenmann of Liechtenstein is 25th. Anna Fernstedt, 24th. So Anna Zaulita, only her second World Cup race. Is she going to make the cut? Little hit there into telephone, not as big as some we've seen. She's drifting out of contention at the moment. Started 25th, she's out to 27th on the splits. 25th best speed. We've seen top 12 speeds from the last 2 or 3 sliders. This isn't going to get it done for Anna Zaulita. She's losing speed all the way down, and she will come across the line in 27th place, 1:12.06. So no second run for the Swiss, the Austrian. And Katharina Eigenmann hangs on to the final spot in the field for one more run. Disappointing for Anna. Again, 2 or 3 races on this track.
Oh, that's
Her first World Cup start here. Head up here, looking for the line, just having to fight it all the way out of Horseshoe. Wasn't a big hit, but taking a hit nonetheless. A little late on the exit, and that slingshots her late into telephone.
Grüße auf zu Hause.
she'll get a chance to watch the second heat. But now then, I told you there were 4 former winners in the field. Katy Tynanbal won here in the 2007-8 season. Fantastic to see Katy back in the World Cup. The 2008 World Cup champion, the 2012 World Champion in women's skeleton. Katy Tynanbal of the USA, 11 wins in her career so far and a 5:49 getaway. Now she has the advantage of late ice. Anywhere else, that would be a handicap. Here, less so. 22nd at the start, up to 19th on the splits. It's been a while since she raced here in St. Moritz. Let's see if she can use all of her vast experience. Currently back in full-time education. Looking to complete her degree. Best speed of all from Katy Tynanbal, 100.3 kilometers an hour. Quicker even through the forest than Kimberley Bos. Second best speed of all. This could be a top 3 run from Katy Tynanbal of the USA. Such a feisty competitor. Best speed of all at the bottom, 84.8 miles an hour. Katy Tynanbal at the line is in the silver medal position, 400ths of a second off the lead. That's insane. 109.85 for Katy Tynanbal. Now, foolishly, I didn't look to see when her last race in St. Moritz was. But it's been a couple of seasons at least since she was on this track, and she's still working to get the line she wanted out of Horseshoe. So suddenly, Kimberley Bos has a challenger.
This works good.
It does work good. And it's probably safer as well. Right now, from one end of experience, Katy Tynanbal, at least 95 World Cup starts, and that just goes back to 2005, so there may be more. I'm trying to find them. We get to Grace Defoe, making her World Cup debut. Former figure skater, she's been a standout performer in North America, and she's raced in the Europa Cup and ICC as well, but this is her first time here. 5:52. 24th fastest start, and this is all about gaining some experience on this track. I'm indebted to Ken Childs watching at I don't know what ungodly hour in the US. January 2022 was Katy Tynanbal's last race here, where she briefly made it back into the World Cup squad before the Beijing Games. Lots of footwork going on, plenty of tap dancing. But Grace, like everybody else on their first trip here, just blown away, not just by the complexity of the track, but the beauty, the splendor, and the alien otherworldliness of it. The silence almost as you're running down the track. So little noise coming back at you. Well, she's not going to make the race at the moment. Anna Fernstedt in 25th place is safe. Katharina Eigenmann is out. 25th place. She's in, and Anna Fernstedt is out by 200ths of a second. Grace Defoe finds something in the final couple of corners. She might make the cut. There is only one sled remaining. But the final slider does have experience on her side. So Grace Defoe, big smile. Now, obviously, the coach can't hold up 25 fingers. She's just happy to have got down cleanly and safely. Look, she's got her head canted over to the side to lower that aerodynamic profile. And that was a decent exit out of Horseshoe. Late here, big flop and a hit in the forest.
Hi, everyone at home. Thanks for watching.
Good to meet her for the first time this week. Now then, here's an athlete we've seen plenty of times from the US Virgin Islands, Katy Tynanbal. Had to pull out of the World Championships after Heat 3 last year. Last World Cup was here, January 2022. She's had 2 20th place finishes on this track out of 5 in her career. This is one of her better tracks. So 5.68 getaway. She was 2022 Winter Olympian for the US Virgin Islands. She's competed 6 times in the World Championships. Katy has plenty of experience. This is only her 21st World Cup race, but she does enter the big races a lot. 29th fastest start. Slowly clawing her way. Ooh, straight line from Nash to Dixon. Big flop on the exit of Dixon. Low in horseshoe, hits in telephone. This is not the run she needed. I think Grace Defoe might just hang on here. Katy Tynanbal losing contact with the leading group. She's not going to have enough speed to make it into Martineau, out of Portago, and that will be the end of her morning's work. 31st at the line, 1:12.47. Grace Defoe on her World Cup debut makes the cut in 25th place, ahead of Anna Fernstedt, Katharina Eigenmann, Freya Tarbit, Anna Zaulita, Anna Torres-Quevedo, Katy Tynanbal, Lara Vargas, and Shannon Galea. So some tiny sliding nations being represented here. Malta, Colombia, the Virgin Islands, and Liechtenstein, but some fairly substantial teams. And Freya Tarbit in 28th place, failing to make the cut. Tabby Stoker and Amelia Coltman, 22nd and 21st, only just making it in. And Katy.
Hi everyone at home in St. Thomas.
Well, big skids down in the forest, robbing her of the speed that she needed. So 33 sleds down in our first heat, 25 go through into the second, and for much of the last hour, Kimberley Bos has been untouchable, but the USA's Katy Ulender, a smoking run, taking advantage of late ice and lots of knowledge of this track, catches her and is just 400s behind. Valentina Margaglio lies in third, 1500s back. We do have a race on our hands. So there's your top 3. Bos, Ulender, Margaglio, that's 1500s. Then Zhao Dan and Susanne Kreher. Kreher, the world champion here last January. They're 2800s back, 100th ahead of Jacqueline Pfeifer, and Mystique Ro a further 100th back. So we should see plenty of changes. And Janine Flock, Tina Hermann, Hallie Clark, and the rest will all be trying to tidy up their act. Meylemans, Sara Schmied tied. We've got a 3-way tie now for 14th. Channell, Alessia Crippa, and Alessandra Fumagalli. Sara Rodriguez makes it in 18th. Amelia Coltman, Tabby Stoker hanging around the top 20. And then the final sled to go through is Grace Defoe, our debutante. From her down, or rather from 26th place Anna Fernstedt down. They will be watching the second heat. You can do the same. Join us as we get back on air at 10:55 local, 09:55 Greenwich Mean Time. And if you're watching in the US, that's 04:55 Eastern. We'll see you then for the second and deciding heat of the women's skeleton race here in St. Moritz.